Your wish has been granted.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Eternal Dragon TCGs, where we are doing take 2 of a community spotlight we have with Miss Violet here. Last time we tried recording this deck profile, and I had some technical difficulties, but this is an important deck list that I wanted to get out, and of course, I wanted to, and she was gracious enough to do it again with me, so thank you again, Violet, for doing this again one more time.
You're very welcome. It is important for the ChiGaming nation.
Absolutely. We need to show off ChiGaming, and we need to get that hashtag going. So hashtag ChiGaming. So
Hashtag ChiGaming.
absolutely. So
For all my Chichi gamers out there.
all the Chi gamers out here, and we will make sure that we throw in some excellent Chi background music and everything, make this look real nice. So go ahead and take us through this deck list.
So, we have, so Chichi is obviously a green deck, as seen there. So on the unawakened side of the leader, we have an activate main that's really great because you take a life, you take a card from your life, you bottom deck a card, and then you do a top 5, and you can take 2 cards among any Son Goku, Chi-Chi, or Unison with a specified cost of 2. So it allows an amazing filtering that makes it so that you can start with unoptimal hands as long as you see 1 or 2 pieces that you need.
Excellent.
Then you awaken at 6, so that's great as well because you don't rely on your opponent doing damage to you, since you awaken at 6 when you have 2 or more energy, so you're always going to be at least at 6 on your turn 2. And when you do, you activate your extra from the deck, and then you flip over. And the extra draws you 1, so you still get a draw 1 on Awaken.
Absolutely excellent. I do have one question, though, that I thought about. Have you ever whiffed with that effect, the activate main on this leader?
Partial whiff, never full.
I feel like it's almost impossible to whiff with the way I think you have this built.
Yeah, no, on the top 5, it's really rough to whiff, but really, I've had a partial whiff in the sense that I only found 1 card out of the 2, but it's very rare.
That just means the RNG gods is really not feeling you today.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot to me. I am known for being unlucky as all crap.
Well, go ahead and continue forward with this here.
So on the Awaken side, we have a permanent that allows Chi-Chi to be able to be a selectable target for Alliance skill from Goku characters, which is great because the deck is an Alliance deck, and this way you pretty much always have a target for Alliances. And on top of that, when you play a Chi-Chi card is when you draw, which comes in clutch in 2 different ways, because that means you don't have to swing with your leader to get the draw, which is great since usually you want to alliance her. And there's another card that's gonna come in later that would allow you to replay a Chi-Chi during your opponent's turn, and that means that you get a draw during their turn as well.
Wonderful.
So, our first 2 cards are the classic cantrip. So Goku is the draw 1, Chi-Chi is a top 5 for Goku, Chi-Chi, or Unison. Chi-Chi restrict cost to 4, whereas the leader search is unrestricted of any cost. Where they become very interesting for is for their activate main that allow you, once you have free energy, to replay either a Goku or a Chi-Chi from the drop, depending on what cantrip you play, obviously. The Goku is a search for a Son Goku card with Alliance and a cost of 3 from the drop. The Chi-Chi search for a Chi-Chi cost 3 and 5,000 power. So the Chi-Chi searches for a specific card. The Goku have 2 choices.
Excellent. So you have a lot of resource recursion with this.
Exactly. And sometimes it can come in clutch to have like the 1-drop Chi-Chi in your hand when you don't have much else, because you do your top 5, then you get to draw 1 off leader, and then the cantrip isn't lost because you get to replay another card from the drop anyway.
Beautiful.
So it's huge value, and that's why I put the Chi-Chi at 4 and the Goku at 3, even for the Goku, technically gets more value since your Alliance guy are kind of the bread and butter of your deck. But I feel like Chi-Chi is coming more clutch when you're low on resources than the Goku.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I prefer like top 5 searchers over just a straight draw one. I feel like they're more valuable because you could find what you need versus you just get what you get.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, there is the question then of like what you can search, and like there's a lot of the deck that you can search with Chi-Chi. There's some cards that you can't search with her, including this deck says Sia. But you know, it comes in better anyway to have a Chi-Chi name for the leader effect than Goku with that. That being said, I've had uses for both.
Sure.
So next up, we have our 2 Alliance guys. So they read very similarly, so I'm gonna present them together. They're both activate main on 2 energy. You tap 1, you play them, and then you draw 1 card. They're both energy exhaust, deflect, 15k free cost, red-green. And their Alliance scale, basically, that's where it gets different. So they both had the power of what they Alliance onto the card. Forgotten Promise on top of that have an extra effect of doing minus 20k to a battle card on your opponent's field, while Son Goku Baka have discard 1 from your opponent's hand effect.
Okay, yeah. Which one do you like more?
I do like the Son Goku Baka better usually, but they're both important because they're both basically like the beauty of the deck is that none of your swings are gonna be wasted, because either you're gonna do a hand control or you're gonna do board control, and that even if your swing is negated, because Alliance is an on-swing auto, so you always get something out of your cards. It's just that your opponent is always gonna have a hand mostly. They're not always gonna have a board. So that's where I prefer Son Goku Baka over Forgotten Promise, but really it depends on what deck I'm facing.
Have you ever considered switching up the ratios to like maybe put Forgotten Promise down to 2 and then bumping up Son Goku Stupid to 4, or do you really enjoy having the 3-3 ratio?
No, I do really enjoy having the 3-3 ratio because I feel like I would miss it too much if I did 3 Forgotten Promise and 2 Forgotten Promise. I feel like I would play against a deck that goes wide on its board early on, and I would be like, oh, where are my Forgotten Promise?
Sure.
I miss them. Next up, we have the Boss Monster. He is a big guy. He's a really cool guy. Your opponent needs to be at 3 or more energy. You tap 2, for you do have a way to reduce that cost, same as the Alliance guy from before. He's a dual attack 25k, whose Alliance skill draws you 1, then kill off a card through barrier that have equal or less power than your Goku battle for the best under the events. And that is after Alliance, of course.
I like that you could use it twice because it's a dual attacker too.
Yes, you can use it twice, get 2 draw, get to kill 2 things through barrier, is really, really great. I've seen some decks outright replace Father-Son Solidarity with this guy, depending on what kind of deck they play, of course, and if they can spare the resource to Alliance. But in this deck, where there's a lot of Alliance trick that allow to restand either itself or the leader or that kind of stuff that's always gonna leave you for good targets for this, it is a monster.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be very impactful and it gets very huge, and that barrier removal is really nice. Now, is playing the 8-drop boss monster like the standard in most decks, or do you see a lot of other people playing like a more generic boss monster like Solidarity?
Solidarity was in the talk for the deck at first, but that was before there was a certain ruling made on how Solidarity's second auto would interact with the field. The field reduced the cost of the red-green Goku by one in your hand. And so people were wondering if comboing the Alliance guy, which usually have a combo cost of 1, would trigger the auto of the burn of Solidarity.
Oh, I see.
It was ruled that it does not. And honestly, having played with that before the ruling, I still mostly preferred Battle for the Best under the events over Solidarity, like most of the time.
I think that barrier removal is really, really important.
Yeah, it's so important nowadays that a lot of things have barrier, and being able to restand it as many times as it does is just so important as well. Because that's the thing with Solidarity. It's a big hit, but you only get one of them that usually gets negated. And meanwhile, Battle for the Best under the event swings at least twice. I've made it swing 5 times in a turn once.
Beautiful.
Yeah. As to how we'll get to that in a minute. So now we get to our Chi-Chis. So first of all, we have Chi-Chi Anonymous by request. She's deflect, like most of the deck. You free player when your opponent has 2 or more energy and you have a Goku with Alliance in play. It allows you to also add back the extra from the drop into your hand. So you get back your stuff from your drop like that. And when she's Allianced, she restands the leader. So that's why, despite the 5,000 power, that isn't much, you usually alliance her and the leader. This way your leader restands at the end, and you basically get 20k bonus instead of 15k.
And you get to use your leader twice for that.
Yeah. And that is also the Chi-Chi that can be replayed from the drop thanks to the cantrip.
Beautiful. I love the interaction.
Yeah, so it's really great. I've had interactions before where it was my big swing turn. I play off Anonymous by request. I swing with a Goku Alliance. I alliance her, Alliance leader, get my swing in. Then I play a battle card that can discard one of my own battle card from my battlefield. Discard Anonymous by request like that. Replay cantrip. Get my top 5. Replay Anonymous by request over her. And then I just get to do it again and restand my leader a second time.
Just a conga line of value.
Exactly. It is amazing what you can do with this deck sometimes. Next up, we have one of the key players of the deck as well. Chi-Chi Magnificent Fighting. She is deflect as well. When she's allianced, she restand one of the Alliance Goku. It doesn't have to be the one that swung, which is really important, because if you get your swing negated with Battle for the Best under the events and you don't want to waste the 15k power she can add on a swing that got negated, you can always swing with another alliance her, and restand your boss monster anyway.
Oh, awesome.
It is great. She's play for 1, and she play back the World Tournament Reunion of Fate from your hand. So it's great since the extra is 1 cost. So basically, instead of paying the 1 cost for the extra, you pay the 1 cost for the battle card that's then gonna play the extra.
So 2 for 1 special.
Exactly. And then the extra draws you 1, so it's great. Then we have Chi-Chi Unbreakable Spirit. I like her. I don't always play her, but when she does come in, she's great. She's a barrier blocker so she loses blocker after full rotation, but she always has barrier. You pay 1 for her when you have 3 or more energy. You draw a card and then play her. So basically, you draw 2 thanks to the leader, if it's your first Chi-Chi. And she restands herself when she's switched to rest mode by one of your skills. Now, it's important that it doesn't state that it have to be through Alliance, because using her to block an attack is resting her by one of your skills. Therefore, she restands. She's a dual use barrier blocker, basically.
So instead of dual attack, you have a dual blocker.
Exactly. And she's also great because you can alliance her and still have her up for blocking for the next turn. So yeah,
And
that's great.
And the 20k boost is always nice.
Yeah, exactly. She's also available to all green World Tournament card, so I've seen her being played in the Roshi deck,
Okay, that's cool.
which I think is a really cool deck as well. And despite the fact that she loses blocker at the end of your opponent's turn, it works out because she's an Earthling, and so thanks to a certain card in the Z deck that I'm sure many people know, you're able to give back blocker every turn to Earthlings, and so she can keep doing barrier blocking for as long as you need her.
Excellent.
And people will hardly combo into a 20k blocker, which is great because you get to either waste some resources of them into her, or you get to use her a second time. Alright, so next up we have Chi-Chi long-awaited reunion. One of my favorite of this archetype as well, because it is basically a punish for people that negates your attack. It's a counter that plays the card, and you don't have to pay the energy cost as long as you have a Goku with Alliance on the field. And when she is switched to rest mode by an Alliance skill, she choose one of your Goku card and give it double strike. So that's great because basically, if they negate anything during your big swing turn, you can just play that, and then for the rest of the turn, your biggest swinging Goku is gonna have double strike, which is amazing when comboed with the A drop, and it's really good that it's not for the battle; it's for the turn.
Correct, because that means, yeah, so when you pair it with that 8-drop, since it has dual attack, so you would swing with it, it gets countered, but then you counter it, and then you could use her, because the counters resolve before autos, she'll play out, and then you could use your Alliance to rest her and then give that dual attacker double strike, so then you're making up for that lost damage you could have had with the 8-drop on that countered swing.
Exactly, and that's without counting all the time that you're gonna restand thanks to your magnificent fighting or other battle tricks. So you can possibly have your 8-drop swing like 4 times at double strike for the turn. And like usually your 8-drop is also around the 40k range when it comes to power after alliancing.
And then nobody likes the combo out of a 40k swing, so they better hope they have counters.
Exactly.
Beautiful card.
Yeah, no, she is amazing. I love her. Next up, we have a little bit of spice. That was all for the archetype. Now we have 2 battle cards that are extra to the archetype. We have Son Goku and Chi-Chi Tournament of Destiny. It's an old promo that go into the announcer deck usually. But basically what it does is that when it enters the field, it's gonna check for World Tournament Goku and World Tournament Chi-Chi. And if it checks for Goku, it gains double strike. So 25k double strike is always scary. And when it sees a Chi-Chi, it draws a card. That is great because your leader also checks for specifically Chi-Chi card, not for green Chi-Chi card. So you can use that in the beginning of a turn where you secure your board and just get a 25k double striker that draws you 2 on entry. And then like swing with that first. And then if they counter, well, if you have your long-awaited reunion in hand, you can just counter with that and have her being able to give double strike to your alliance guy from the very start, you know?
Awesome. Very awesome.
So like you can threaten them with a double strike and then punish them with more double strike if they're scared of it. It's amazing.
One way or another, they're eating a double strike.
Exactly. Next up, we have Piccolo Jr. Return of the Great Demon King. So it's a tap 1, play it when you have 3 or more energy. It's a 20k battle card to begin with, which is great. Then it have an activate main where it chooses one of your battle card and KO it. Then choose a battle card of your opponent and KO it. And if amongst both cards that he KO'd, there's either an Earthling or a Goku name in it, he gains plus 5k, dual attack, and makes your opponent discard 1. It's amazing because that card can slot in a lot of green deck and be pretty sure to hit target with the amount of Goku deck with the amount of Son Goku names in pretty much every deck nowadays. But in that deck, you're practically always sure to get the effect because those are the Earthlings and Goku names are the only cards that you play mostly. So it had some more pressure, it had some more hand destruction if you're going for control, and you can swing once with it and then use the second swing as an alliance target and add plus 25k to one of your alliance Goku.
Excellent.
It's a really neat battle trick, and I like that card a lot. It's not every battle that I get to use it, but I think that as a 2-off, it pulls its weight way more than it should.
Absolutely, I like that you could use it to pivot how you want to play.
Yeah, this deck is really good at that. I think it's one of my favorite things about that. It's that you don't have to hard commit to control or beat down. Chi-Chi is really good at pivoting between the two, and at either laying it high with like lots of strikes, lots of restand, and those kind of stuff, or if they're able to out control you, just play it low, discard their hand, play it little bit by little bit, and the leader may be frail, but we're playing into green, so we have access to Dormant, we have access to a barrier blocker that restands herself. It works out. Really, Chi-Chi makes a great control deck when you want her to be. Next up, we have the super combos. So I'm running a 2-2 split of 2 Chi-Chi named, of course, to be searched out by either the cantrip or the Awakened leader. One of them is always a 10k combo, but gains her draw 1 if you have 2 or more Z energy or Z battle in play. The other is if you add 5 or less, it gains plus 10k combo power and draws you 1. I run the 2-2 split because Chi-Chi Unexpected Encounter is great for decks that are gonna be very early aggro, and like early aggro with stuff like critical and that kind of stuff that you don't want to take. Well, Martial Daughter Chi-Chi is where it's the one that I most commonly use, the most commonly have online, because you put yourself at 6, so it's really not uncommon for you to be at 5 on your weekend turn. Sure,
yeah, absolutely. And definitely nice to have a earlier online life-based super combo.
Yeah, 100%. And the fact that they are both Chi-Chi names is great as well.
Super thematic.
Yeah, I love that. I love to play my decks very thematic, very archetype-based. And I know that it causes me to make some dumb decisions sometimes in the way that I build my decks, but I'll stick to it. I'll stick to it because I really love playing my decks as close to archetype as I can and really feel like I'm playing the character first and foremost.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the best things about Dragon Ball.
Yeah, absolutely. The super combos also have another utility in a specific color matchup to be split, because Unexpected Encounter is a 15k, while Martial Daughter Chi-Chi is a 12k. So into Explosive Dance, it's better to have an Unexpected Encounter and use the energy, since it's gonna fulfill the condition for Explosive Dance much better than Martial Daughter Chi-Chi.
Yeah,
which,
definitely.
By the way, the 12k is a cool reference to the fact that Chapter 12 is when Goku and Chi-Chi meet up, and I think that's good.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
They're always doing neat stuff like that in this game.
Yeah, I really like the amount of love that is put in there for the show or for the original material, because there's so much in there, and I just love the design philosophy of the leaders and the archetype of many decks, and that is what drew me to play this card game as much as I have. I feel like when I play this game, I first and foremost play a Dragon Ball game, and secondly a card game.
Yeah, for sure. Like that is probably one of the few things about this game that truly drew me in myself. You know, the amount of flavor and care and thematic mechanics that make it really feel like you're participating in a Dragon Ball fight from the anime.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing the amount of little details that they throw in there while making something that works as a card game, but still throwing in little things that like you can't help but stare at and be like, oh, it's done like that because of that thing that happens in the show. And it always makes me smile when I spot one of those.
Definitely. Me too.
All right, so keeping on going, we have the Unison. The Unison is a little bit divisive in the ChiGaming community because I've seen a lot of people not play it or say that it's a little bit of a waste of space. I personally like it for what it does. For I can understand that if you really want to trim down the deck, it can probably be one of the first cards to go. Still, I find its utilities. So it's a card that it's a 2-cost. So it's gonna be great when you go second, because on your second turn when you go second, you don't really use much energy. You use 1. So you can spare the last energy and an energy marker to set up a Unison that +2 every turn. So it's gonna be hard to deal with or offer you a turn of leisure otherwise. It have a really cool effect that allows you to pick up back your 3-drop Chi-Chis from your battle area once you're done alliancing them, which really helps with the consistency of the deck. You keep on getting back your Anonymous by request, to keep on getting back your field, and then you can free play her next turn anyway, so it just works out great with that. And then its -5 comes really clutch in big swing turns, in like turn 4 and above when you really want to close the game, because it allows you to choose a Goku with Alliance and a Chi-Chi card and put them both back to active mode.
Absolutely, yeah. To sneak off two more swings that your opponent's not waiting for.
Exactly. And speaking of sneaking off, a thingy that people also often forget about this Unison is its auto that separates from the marker system. So it's not a once per turn. And it says that anytime you activate an alliance skill, this card gets +5k for the turn.
Yep.
So often that I have a big swing turn where I swing with my alliance guys like 4, 5, 6 times, and my opponents survive by the skin of their teeth at like 1 life, and then I swing with my Unison, and I'm like, okay, so that's 50k to your lead. And they just stare at me like, what? Well, yeah, because 5k plus 5k plus 5k, it really adds up really fast. And as early as turn 2, you can have her already be at 25k for the swing. And that's kind of incredible, because people are not going to be prepared for dealing with an extra big attacker on top of the alliance guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of sneaky Unisons like this, where I have effects that like boost up its power, because more often than not, like utility Unisons like this don't often get swung. And so their 15k base is just usually for like a defensive purpose, so that their weenies can't swing at it and take the markers down. But you know, you got that sneaky effect that's not once per turn, like you said, and you use Alliance significant amounts on your big swing turns with restanding the Gokus, restanding the Chi-Chis. So every time you're using it, you're just ticking up that power, and your opponent's so focused on trying to combo out of the Alliance swings and just trying to save their life that they forget that Unison has been getting larger and larger and larger until it's too late.
Exactly. I will say that it's a card that doesn't always come up, but I have not regretted a single time playing it.
Sure.
When I do play it, it always comes in use. Be it to boost my consistency or for the swings, even just being a meat shield on turn 2. Honestly, sometimes I play it on turn 2, and my opponent uber focus it to get the 4 markers down in turn 2, and like that's fine. That gives me briefing room, so I don't have to use my cards to defend, and then on next turn on turn 3, I can flap back and clean their board with my 8-drop, and all is fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people misvalue the idea, like when they think about paying 2 for a unison or even paying 3, depending on what it is, that people are like, they conflict it with the idea of wasting resources on a unison. But with unisons like this that have such powerful abilities, and opponents will tunnel in on that and try to get rid of it, because smart players will see that has that plus that beaning effect with the alliance, and they want to, before it can get too big, they want to get rid of it. And then that takes all the pressure off your leader, any of your battle cards, anything that you're trying to preserve. And so that 2 energy was maybe expensive in this deck, because it seems like a lot of the cards you're playing are 1 or 2 cost at most. But that 2 energy saved you probably 2 to 3 to 4 swings away from your leader.
Exactly. And it saved you more cards in hand as well. And that's gonna come in handy for the next turn, you know? And you still got a good effect out of her, because like I said, even just playing her on turn 2, you get a consistency boost, because you can get back whatever Chi-Chi you're missing in hand back to hand. So your turn 3 is set up in advance, and then you get the 25k swing, and that's also important.
Very.
You get to be more aggressive with her, and that's really great. So I play her as a 2. Like I said, she mostly comes in handy on if you go second. This is a deck that very much wants to go second, since your Chi-Chi Anonymous by request is locked behind your opponent having 2 or more energy, and she's kind of vital to the archetype. And then your boss monster is locked behind them having 3 energy. But even on games where I've gone first, I haven't regretted really putting her there, because this is a deck that have multicolor cards while not charging multicolor energy. So even just drawing it made energy charging easier, and that was fine by me. There's only 2 in the deck, so that's completely fine, you know?
Yeah, I love cards like that. Sometimes when you get to use them, and they're very useful, but if they're not optimal for that turn, just throw it in the energy. It saves you the cards in the hand for what you need to do, versus something that you couldn't even really use anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. Next up, we have the extra. So I've been talking about the extra all this time, but it's finally time to present it. World Tournament Reunion of Fate is a field whose permanent reduce the combo cost of your multicolor cards by 1. So that's how you get to basically not have a hand that's full of dead cards that you can't combo. When it's played, it draws you 1. And most importantly, when on activate main, you can place it in your drop, and then the next time you want to play a Goku with Alliance, you get to reduce the cost by 1 green. The thing that's also really cool about that is that it's not an effect of like you put it in the drop, then you immediately have to play your Goku. It's a lingering effect. So it have happened a few times where I begin my turn and I have the Chi-Chi that plays back the field, but I don't have a Goku with Alliance in my hand. And so I just discard the field, play my Chi-Chis, get back my stuff, draw my cards, and then out of those cards I find a Goku with Alliance, and I still get to play it for free.
Oh,
and
nice.
I think that's really cool.
Very, very cool. It seems like this field card is definitely like the bread and butter of like how this deck functions.
Absolutely. You do not want to pass your turn without it on the field, because it helps reduce the energy cost of your card and make you be able to basically set up your entire board for 1 or 2 energy, depending on what you're doing. And it makes it so that half of your cards aren't dead in hand, which is so vital. Otherwise, you're gonna end up half of the time having like nothing that you can combo because the field isn't there, and then you take way more damage than you should. And then the next turn you use way more energy than you use 1 more energy than you should, 1 more energy that should have gone to the defense, and yeah. So a tech that you really want is to, if you go first, you want World Tournament Reunion of Fate in hand,
Mm-hmm.
because while Anonymous by request is energy locked on your opponent's curve,
Mm-hmm.
Magnificent Fighting isn't.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have one in hand, you get to play one thanks to your leader.
Mm-hmm.
You discard it, then you play back Magnificent Fighting, which is gonna play the field that you have in hand.
There we go.
And this way you get to set up your things while still going first, which is an optimal for Chi-Chi.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's a 3 off. Because you have a card that's gonna seek it from the drop, you don't need 4 off.
Sure.
2 off is too little because, you know, there's always the chance that they end up in life.
Mm-hmm.
And
you need enough in your deck to see them, but not so much to where they're clogging up your hand. So 3 is the good number there.
yeah, and the cool thing as well is that if you're going second and you have it in hand, well, you can just bottom deck it on your own awakened side.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
So it's a great target for that as well. And then you know that you have one in deck for when you awaken.
Just add it right back.
Yeah. Next up, we have like the defensive option, the counters.
Mm-hmm.
So Homicidal Clone, Dormant Potential Unleashed, everyone know those.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Together on the Nimbus, which is a new extra card from this set that I
Mhm.
really like. It's a counter that doesn't negate the attack, but it draws you one. Then you choose a Saiyan and an Earthling card among all the cards in you and your opponent's area,
Mm-hmm.
battle area, I mean. And then you send them to their warp. And
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the turn, they're replayed with all their skills. So this is great for multiple uses. The one that's going to be the most consistent uses is going to be protecting your board,
Mm-hmm.
because the warp is virtually untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
I do not think that there's cards that can affect your warp
Mm-hmm.
like that. So you use it on a swing. It's cool because it's all in the counter timing as well. So if your opponent have an effect that can cure one of your card on auto timing,
Mm-hmm.
well, you get to protect your card before that.
Mm-hmm.
You warp your Goku, you warp your Chi-Chi, they come back at the end of the turn, and this way your board is set up for the next turn. A second core effect of that is that you can warp your opponent's card.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of decks that play Saiyans nowadays. There's a lot of big attackers that are Saiyans, and there's a lot of SCRs that are Saiyans.
Mm-hmm.
If you warp your opponent's SCR, it leaves the battle area, therefore it does not come back.
Mm-hmm. This is a very versatile counterattack, like you've been just described, protecting your board or stopping the pressure of your opponent's swings, especially if they've gone very wide or they have their big boss monsters. SCRs, like you said, just gets rid of them.
Yeah, and a really cool use as well is that if they're targeting your board and they're relying on battle tricks,
Mm-hmm.
if you just warp your board before the battle can really properly begin, they don't get to use any of their battle tricks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it just works out really great in that sense. There's also a cool synergy with the leader here. That was the effect that I was talking about earlier.
Okay.
If you warp one of your own Chi-Chis, it comes back at the end of your opponent's turn, so before yours. Therefore, it is still their turn, and it is your first Chi-Chi played on the board, so you draw one. So Together on the Nimbus, since most of the time you're not gonna have an Earthling on your opponent's board to remove, is mostly a draw 2 in this deck,
Oh,
which is really huge.
very huge.
It's still a 2 off because unfortunately it's a counter that doesn't negate. So it's a great card, but you don't want that to be your only counter option.
Absolutely, yeah. You do definitely want to have like actual negates, and then of course Dormant's always going to be in there. Dormant is Dormant.
Yeah, pretty much. Next up we have Bujin. So Bujin is a counterplay. It targets one cost and 2 cost. It's a tap 1. Make sure that that card doesn't hit the board. This is usually a side deck card, but in this deck I've put it in the main deck because you are very reliant on your cards actually hitting the board. And well, most of your chain have deflect, there are cards that are gonna get through that by using autos, and you really don't want that to happen. Because let's say that on your turn 2, someone set up, there's the energy. Let's say you're playing against Pan, for example, and they got like freezy energy already on turn 2. You want to set up your alliance guys to then set up your Chi-Chis and all of that, and they try to defeating the demon you and do minus 20k on your cards on auto timing. Bujin is gonna be so essential there to protect your card.
Yeah,
and it's just, I've found that without it, Chi-Chi just crumbles to so many decks that have options that goes through deflect.
Right, because there's a lot of counterplay like cards out there now that don't even actually do anything to a deflect card. They just counterplay, play the card, and then their auto is what does something to the card. So it just gets around deflect.
Exactly, and that's the big problem that this deck faces, and why Bujin is so essential to it.
I think I agree with your choice here to main deck it, because it seems like you're always going to want to have it in deck anyway.
Well, yeah, because the deck is very reliant on sequencing. You need your Gokus to be on the field to do most swings, and then you need them to be on the field for the Chi-Chis to be able to be played. And the Chi-Chis are what's gonna trigger the auto of your leader to draw. And if that's disrupted and you have to spend more energy on stuff that you don't forcefully have in hand, it's so much better to spend that energy on Bujin instead.
Yeah, you don't want to lose your value at all. Like if you have to restart your chain or restart your board, you're losing so much value, you're turned behind, and then it just kind of snowballs into a very bad like situation to be in.
It's what I was talking about earlier. It's the whole thing with how much value you get out of every swing in this deck, even if your attacks are negated.
Absolutely.
So that's like the big selling point of that deck. So you really want to have all the options that are gonna make sure that stays true. And then finally we have one of, because I only have one of them, that is the Concept Rare Tien versus Son Goku. Really cool cards, come in handy sometimes. It's a Goku name, so you can search it up with your leader, you can search it up with your cantrip. It's online on turn 3. Your opponents need to have 3 or more energy, so that's one more point toward going second. You play the card, it switches the target of the attack to it, and then you can kill up to 4 total energy cost, which is great because you can target token decks with that, and or you can target like multiple cards that are low energy, and it usually comes in handy in any way. Otherwise, it's a 25k double strike for 1. That's always useful. It's not vital if you don't have it, but it's a cool trick if you do.
Absolutely.
And finally, we have the SCR. So my SCR of choice for this deck is Super Shenron. It is objectively not the best SCR for this deck. I would say that Adventure would probably be the best since it's searchable, or Porunga for roughly the same thing that Super Shenron does, but more consistently useful. So Super Shenron is an ultimate card that's gonna be online depending on the number of cards in your Z energy or in your drop. So it comes in online sooner or later, depending on how aggressive you're being with your cards, or how much your opponent is being aggressive in terms of board control. It has 3 effects. One of them, so it's an activate main, choose one. So one of them is choose up to one of your opponent's battle card or unison, switch it to active, then gain control of it. It's important that it's switched to active and then you don't lose the skill effects on it either. So that I've messed up with a number of decks that don't like when their own gimmick is turned back on them. I'm thinking, for example, of Yellow Sin and Yellow Nuova that really don't like it when I turn the skill negating against them on top of what I can do as a green deck. It comes in useful as well in the green matchup
Mhm.
because they're reliant on their unison being online for their defensive option,
Mhm.
as does like yellow decks and some option in blue decks.
Mhm.
So being able to take control of the unison before they get to counter anything is great.
Absolutely.
And in other niche situations, just having their unison because you get the effects of their unison is great as well.
Mhm. Definitely nice to be able to stop their dormants or any of their battle card floodgates before they even get a chance to play them. A green probably really feels bad when they have that unison stolen and they can't dormant you for free.
Exactly. Then it have a second effect that is probably the most like consistent effect. It gives indestructible to one of your cards, so that's great because your swings can't be messed up with anymore. Comes in great to give that to your boss monster on a turn where you know you're gonna swing a lot with him and you don't want him to be removed in any way, shape, or form. Of course, it's not as useful in the red matchup because red goes through indestructible with their minus. But it's always a great choice when they don't forcefully have something useful that you want on your side.
Absolutely.
And then the third effect is just an insta win against universe decks because you take every battle card in their drop that have universe in their trait and just play it back on your field. No skills negated, no nothing. You just get to play their entire graveyard, and that is just insane in matchup against like red U7, for example, or any of the white decks, because you just get to play like at least 10 cards from there and grave at the point that you play that card.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the white decks and how bad that would screw them over, and then just flooding your own field with like, the Champas or the Bell mods or any of the large swingers, because a lot of the cards in Belmont or even white U7 Goku, they're 20Ks, 25Ks, and that's a lot of pressure to put on your opponent when you play that out. So I really like this SCR choice.
Yeah, and I remember one time where I was playing against white Belmont, and like I played that card on like turn 4. I had very little resources in hand. I played that, I used that effect, and then I asked my opponent, okay, so out of all of your cards, how much do I draw now? And just like it was something like 5 or 6 cards, because there's like the when this card is played, draw 1 effect that I would get from these cards that would allow me to get stuff. And that was an insane comeback value.
And I didn't even really consider that you get all the on-play values too. That's crazy. Yeah, you're just drawing your hand back up, adding a board full of pressure. I think that's like a coup de grace in its own.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's very specific, so it's only gonna come up then. A cool thing about this SCR is that normally it can't attack. You don't really care about that since you're gonna alliance it and make your boss monster have SCR power, basically. So that's always great as well. Via just for that, it's great to play it. You tap 1, you give plus 40k to your boss monster when it attacks. It's amazing.
So would you what if you pick this SCR because you already owned it, right? Like you don't own what you would consider to be the optimal SCR. What do you think the optimal SCR would be for this deck? You said it was Adventure, right?
I think it would be Adventure because once again it's searchable, and it's a good name, and it can restand your boss monster once more to swing again, and then like you do this similar effect of like you use Alliance to use the power of the card into your boss monster swing. Porunga is also a great option. The problem is that it costs 2 energy, and that you would basically have to sacrifice your defense for that turn to do it. At the same time, Porunga is really good at making sure that you finish your game. It have a similar thing of Porunga can't attack, but you don't care because you alliance it, and then you get to like tap energy to discard their hand and draw back yours. It's just insane value. I would say that like Super Shenron maybe have the more niche uses for certain matchups, while Porunga is gonna be the more consistently useful card.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. And honestly, I appreciate the fact that you're running an off the cuff SCR like this, because I think a lot of people forget that when they're building these decks out there, even though there are obviously the optimal SCR choices, sometimes those optimal choices are really expensive. And for some people who are more on a budget to play a deck, there are a multitude of very good SCRs out there that, even though they're not optimal, but they are very useful in their own right. And I think like seeing options like this out there, it allows people to widen their horizons a little bit more on what's actually out there that they can use. Because in certain circumstances, I feel like every time you've probably played Super Shenron here, it's caught your opponents off guard. They're not expecting you to be able to steal their Unison, and they're certainly not expecting you to play all their Universe cards out from their drop. Like that's insane. Like I probably wouldn't know what to do if I was on the receiving end of a Super Shenron.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that to those people that worry about the SCR, you don't need to play optimal in this kind of game, because the balance is done well enough that there are more options than you think of. Yeah, you're gonna see everyone use the best one in their list and whatever and whatnot. But there are stuff that works well with specific decks, and like, for example, an option that I've seen as well that is really funny for this deck is Peace Resolution. For the simple fact that you restand your leader. You can restand your leader by attacking with your Alliance guy. And your leader is a weenie 15k that doesn't have any activate battle or whatever. It catches people off guard when you suddenly become a 35k triple strike out of nowhere.
Yeah, you just sneak wins off of that.
And you can do that, and like, if they negate your swing, then you can set up with your Alliance guy and then restand your leader and then attack them in the middle of like bigger swings that they're not gonna expect. And it's just, there are options, and it's not the only deck that works like that. There are so many decks where people, like the general public, is used to seeing a specific SCR being played with them because it's what works most consistently. But thinking outside the box can really get you some neat matches sometimes.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more.
I feel like it's been a leading theme of everything I've done in the Dragon Ball community so far, because I like to play decks of my favorite characters, and that includes playing some oddball decks that many people don't pick up or don't think about. And then whenever I slam it on the table, there's a lot of people that are going to be like, oh wow, I completely forgot this deck existed. What does it do already, you know? And I feel like people underestimate the power of that, of playing something that's unoptimal but not optimized from their opponent's point of view as well. And something that they're not expecting yet.
And that's like part of the core philosophy that we have on this channel, because of how vast this game is, there are so many options available to people, and we want to like invite, wonderful people like you, Violet, to be able to show off these cool decks that, even though aren't necessarily quote unquote topping, but could possibly top or even do really well if you just put in the time and effort and you start thinking a little bit further outside the box. But I've rambled on enough. Let's go ahead and finish this out.
I am the one that's rambling there. Alright, so Z-Deck. Z-Deck is pretty classic stuff. There is no specific Z card for this deck. We have Bardock's Feather's help that combos really well with the Barrier Blocker that I was talking about earlier, or can help you control some more because you get to discard one card out of their hand. And Chi-Chi doesn't have huge discard power outside of her Alliance guy, but it can really stack up if you start using your Z-Deck as well. And if you start like restanding your Alliance guy multiple times, if you start saving them and then you're playing another one the next turn and that kind of stuff. So Bardock is a great help for that. Piccolo Power Up is another one. You're gonna fill your board super fast with your Chi-Chis, with your Gokus and everything. And it's not hard to have 4 cards already on the board by turn 2, and therefore to be able to just play Piccolo power up and get rid of a buyer threat that's on the field.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Great spot removal.
And you're absolutely always going to have the plus 10k to have a 20k dual attacker. And then you can use him similarly to the Piccolo Jr. in main deck, where you attack once at 20k, and then use the dual attack restant to use him as materials for your next alliance swing.
Are you able to use Z battle cards for alliance?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even better.
It's great like that because you get to get more use of cards that don't forcefully have tricks when they swing.
Yeah, absolutely. I just was curious because there's some effects out there that don't quite work interchangeably, but there's a lot more of them that do, and I was curious if Alliance was one of them.
Next up, we have the Z Extra. Everyone knows what it does. You tap 1 and 1. You have the effects where you just remove a Z energy. You gain plus 10k. You can kill something that's 3 cost or less. Then you have the tap 1, remove 3 Z energy. Kill something 5 cost or less, I believe. Gain plus 15k. And you discard a card at random on your enemy's hand. Honestly, I very rarely use the second effect because this isn't a deck that combo much since your alliance. But the first effect I have come in clutch early on if I don't have anything else to play on a turn 2 basis. I've seen people also use that and the fact that Chi have a field of her own to play King Cold as a counter. So that's certainly an option. That is not an option that I've personally picked because I like the options that I have for defense. And usually people traded it together on the Nimbus. But it's an option. It's certainly a way to make the deck more defensive when it's a little bit more on the frail side and very reliant on Dormant.
Sure, yeah. Just kind of depends on your playstyle.
Yeah, pretty much. We have Dr. Juro in case you need to remove, to filter your hand or remove a life. Comes in rarely because, like I said, your Unawakened side takes out life from yourself, and your super combos are live at 5. But in case it's really a deck that doesn't want to interact with your leader, but you want to be awakened as soon as possible, it's always good to have one.
It's also a decent thing to put out if you don't already have the 2 Z energy for your other super combos, because it also says Z battle cards. So
yeah,
if you don't have 2 Z energy by that time, you can play that and make those online.
Yeah, pretty much. Frieza Resurrect animation. It's pretty classic stuff once again, but like kill something that's 5 or less is good. Double Strike 15k is good, and more than anything, the discard 1 when you attack with something is great because I've used it on I'm getting tired.
We're almost done, I promise.
On matches where I'm playing more control, it's great to be able to stack in the hand destruction of Frieza with a swing from Alliance Goku, from Goku Baka, because you get to basically discard 2 cards in one swing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really useful. Broly Tyrant, really good synergy with that deck. Because the permanent that allow you to play it for 1 and 1 if you kill off one of your battle card is doubly useful when you combine it with the cantrip. Because you can swing with your Alliance Goku, for example, your free drop. You swing with it once, you swing with it twice, it's not active anymore. You play Broly Tyrant, you get a double striker that kills something on their side, and you get to put your free drop in the drop, then replay it with a cantrip. It bypassed the limit 1 of the activate main of the Alliance coup. If you just play the cantrip, then replay your Alliance coup with that.
Oh, nice. Very, very nice.
That is really cool. It's something that I mentioned earlier in one battle, that I had a cantrip Chi on the field that was there from turn 1 and wasn't dealt with because my opponent didn't think of the second effect.
Mm-hmm.
And just I needed more firepower, so I alliance my Chi-Chi Anonymous by request,
Mhm.
then killed her off with Burly Tyrant,
Mm-hmm.
and replayed her with the cantrip.
Love it.
Yeah, it's a great card, definitely great in that deck. And finally, we have Jiren the Immovable. This is probably the most whatever card in the Z deck. It can be traded off for Piccolo power up. But I found it cool in a few situations,
Mhm.
including an Oob matchup, for example,
Mhm.
because the ability to discard as many Z energy as you want
Mhm.
is great to deal with enemy unisons, for one, since that's the effect. You remove the energy, you remove marker on their sides.
Mhm.
But it's also great if your opponent relies on you having the energy, like in the blue matchup.
Sure, absolutely.
Finally, we have the side deck. So the side deck, I have Strategy of Universe 7, which is great. Great synergy that people don't expect with that deck. Your alliance guys are green-red Saiyans. Strategy of Universe 7 targets red Saiyans and give them barrier. So that's awesome because you get to protect them for a full rotation. And that means that that you can swing freely with them, since not a lot of cards on your opponent's side is gonna hit barrier guys.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's good. It's not always good. It depends on if you're facing something with a lot of battle tricks, but it have come in great. Koitsukai, of course, always useful. Heavenly Wizard Demigra. There's the Great Saiyaman deck that's running around, and this is part of cards that I put in specifically for that. Heavenly Wizard Demigra is gonna be able to target their a drop through barrier, even if they set up with it, and kill them off. So it's awesome because the Great Saiyaman matchup is really tough, because skill negation is gonna be really strong against this deck, due to the fact that you play your stuff in a specific order and you can disrupt the chain by playing something else first.
Definitely. I hadn't even really
So-
considered that. I just kind of always knew this as the card you use against black, but now that you mentioned, Great Saiyaman, yeah, that's super useful against that deck.
Yeah, it's great. You just swing with your leader, combo that off, and just get that off. Black Smoke is great to deal with enemy unisons. It's 2 energy. It's honestly very costly. It's probably the card that is the most replaceable in this side deck, but it's also there for another purpose that we'll get to in a minute. Vegeta Imagine Exterminator for the green double, the green Ditto. It's always great to empty this card. Yamcha the Cunning for the blue matchup. I believe that I also have Hunter the Demon God for the dormant. And finally, we have a Demon God Dabura counter. So since we already have black cards in the main deck, thanks to the promo, and we have a lot of black cards in the side deck, I run it because once again, yellow is the bane of this deck, and you really do not want your skills to be negated. Therefore, Dabura is absolutely vital to that. If you don't want to get annihilated by anything that negates skills, well, you're gonna have to side in 8 cards and get teased about it in the Slave server, but at least you sided in correctly to deal with stuff.
No, I think that's a really awesome deck, because a lot of these counter cards, most people just assume that you play them in the associated color that they're made for, but the fact that you could play that out with Overrealm, and you, like you said, you already have the black cards in your side deck, and obviously the promos, and being able to use that and get your counter out, so that and like you said, the yellow is the bane of this deck's existence, so having the skills negated is just something you want to stop at all costs. So that is a great option you put in there.
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest threat of this deck, I would say. So siding in mostly for that, and a little bit for other colors, is, in my opinion, the best things to do there, because the other colors are going to be less threatening to your main gimmick. Yellow already says you can't do what your deck is supposed to do.
For sure. Well, I believe that is the deck in its entirety.
Yep.
One thing that I would like to ask, just so that the viewers at home can kind of have a summary, what type of player would you say this deck is for? Like, who would you recommend this to?
So, like I was talking about earlier, I would say that it's great for people that want something that's more flexible. Something where they can play both roles pretty well, the beatdown and the control, and like get to decide game by game what they want to do with it. It's not gonna do it as well as decks that are fully control or fully beatdown, but it's always gonna have a fighting chance against them by being able to go from one to the other really fast.
Well, I believe that's everything that we have here to talk about. Again, Violet, I appreciate it so much for doing this deck profile with us, and of course, doing it again after the technical difficulties. That's on me, not on you.
You're very welcome. I'm just glad that we could get this done.
Absolutely. Do you have any last second shout outs to the community?
Well, just shout outs in general to the entire Lookout community and the Snipe server, because as I mentioned earlier, this is my first TCG, the first one where I really interacted with the community, where I really built deck to play with people online and that kind of stuff. And I was a complete newbie when it came to lots of things that people are usually in the known of when it comes to TCGs. And the community have been amazing to me. They've been really, really kind. And the reason that I'm able to do this today with you is mostly because I've been supported by those amazing people that I met there. And I'm so thankful toward the community at large for making that possible. Because you guys are really, really awesome. And you've created a hobby for me that I treasure very, very much nowadays.
And the sentiment goes the same way towards you. You are a wonderful person. We appreciate you in the community, and we are lucky to have you around. So again, thank you so much again, Violet. With that being said, everybody, thank you all for tuning in to the Community Spotlight here at Eternal Dragon TCGs. This is the People's Champ signing off. Peace.
#ChiGaming!
#ChiGaming.